Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Cheers. Evening time here in the lovely county of Roscommon. A little glass of vino. Thank you for joining me as I attempt to do the impossible. A Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka draft that doesn't look too bad. I don't advise anyone actually does this. Yes, what's the point of doing a video which you're not possibly going to go with? Well, I find it's useful. One, it's a bit of fun. Two, it sort of makes you look at players that you wouldn't have considered and maybe discover one or two things along the way that could be useful to the real draft you're doing. So the reality is, I would say about 40% on the no Haaland Salah draft. I did my first run at that this morning and I quite like the look of it. Still only be about 40% on that. I'll release in the next few days my Salah draft, which is, I'd say, where I'm probably 60% likely to go, and they'll be very, very different in terms of chip strategy and some of the players that I'll be doing in there and defense, etc. on my Salah draft. I'd say I'm probably about 60% on that, and if I do the Salah draft, and that is ultimately where I go with, then that will require a lot of discipline because then I really will be applying my model right across the season and not doing that sort of punty game week 1 to 4 and then doing an early wild card if I'm in the shit and that sort of thing. That's a story for another day. We'll have a look at that draft tomorrow. But I found this quite interesting. This could be a viable take a gamble doing something completely different. I would say there isn't even a 5% chance I'll do it, but there are a couple of interesting things discovered as I was doing it. So here we go. As I attempt to do the impossible, here is going to be my Haaland, Salah, Saka, Palmer draft. Down there. Let's take a look at it. Okay, first thing I discovered when I was doing this, I really needed, is there any 4 million playing keeper? And what I actually did is I was sort of investigating and looking at news articles, etc. and things. Kinski, there's a good possibility, and this is a good job I discovered this because I actually have Vicario in my no Haaland Salah draft starting 11 at the moment because I thought Vicario had like this really great home fixture to Burnley. It turns out his place could be in danger from Kinski, who is just 4 million. It does look like Thomas Frank really likes Kinski, so let's keep a close eye on that. We could end up in our final drafts have a pretty decent playing 4 million keeper that for that opening fixture against Burnley, you'd probably play him, or would you? You know, if Kinski's locked, geez, and you 4 million, yeah, you've got to have him. You'd have to have him. So let's keep an eye on that one. So for that reason, I have got Kinski in goal in this draft, and I've got Kelleher as a bit of backup there at the moment. And it would be, if I find out Kinski is playing, then I could trim, definitely playing, then we could trim another 0.5 off Kelleher and use it to bolster somewhere else. And trust me, if as you look at that, you can see there's a bit of bolstering needed. Is it really that bad? Is it really actually that bad? Okay, fine. Colwill, really good fixture. Konza, we know Villa have got some good fixtures, and Wan-Bissaka, great fixture against Sunderland. And we do, of course, know now that maybe the cheaper defenders, if we can find those 4s and 4.5ers that are going to get plenty of clearances in and blocks and interceptions. If they're provided they're not conceding too many goals and they get their 2 appearance points, pick up a couple of bonus. And you never know, the occasional clean sheet. If you were playing that 4.5, if you could start to achieve even an average of 3 or 4, and more gems in that 4.5 will be uncovered early in the season and pre-season. That we didn't think could be starting, and suddenly find that they're actually lock-ins. So these are the 3 I've got there at the 4.5 price. But there will be more. Maybe there are already more that you guys know about. Please let me know in the comments. But those look like a pretty decent 3 to me. And with some not too bad fixtures coming up. Yeah, that doesn't perturb me if I had to go out with that. Then we move into the midfield. So we've got Casado there, obviously. So Casado would have been one of the beneficiaries of the bonus points, the extra bonus points for defensive actions and interceptions last year. He would have been the highest, was about 32 points he would have had. So it wouldn't have still wouldn't have been a spectacular season for him, probably about 130, 135 points. But as an enabler, that's not bad, is it? And again, as we know, Chelsea have got some decent fixtures, and yeah, certainly, there's always a chance he picks up an attacking return or two. Certainly not prolific by any manner of means. Then, of course, we have Palmer, speaks for itself. And we've got Saka, speaks for itself. Anderson, little hidden gem. He would have done very, very well under the bonus points last year. He is fairly pivotal in that Nottingham Forest midfield. Again, I don't think he would be a spectacular score. I don't think we're going to be looking at a 180 or 190 defender. But again, sorry, midfielder, I should say. But not bad though. But, probably coming around the 130-ish, 140-ish points based on his numbers for last year. So that isn't bad. And then, of course, we've got Mo Salah. Right, now we're running into trouble. We are running into big trouble here. This is a punt. This is the young fella that's been signed from Brighton, signed for Brighton as a striker, 5 million. I think there's a really good chance that he could end up being a starter. Someone that was actually one of the subscribers put me onto him, and then I've had a look at some of his highlights videos, what they're saying about him at the club. He could well end up being a starter. Absolutely one. Keep an eye on this lad. He's got a lot of skill. Brighton are one of the best teams at recruiting. They really, really are. And at 5 million, if this guy's starting week in, week out, that could be, even just to have it on normal teams as a bench player, throw it on the bench and then see if he suddenly does start playing and banging in goals, really really good rotation, or just a bench option if you've got an injury or any unexpected rotations. And then of course we have Haaland. As for the bench, it's a bit of sadness there, isn't it? Really, it's other than Kelleher. And he may be needed because we don't know if Kinski is definitely playing. There is nothing there. I've gone with Heaven. Lad's a talented lad. This guy could find his way in the United starting 11 at some point. He came in last year, really, really acquitted himself very, very well. Young fella. We know United have got some defensive problems. This guy could find himself getting some decent game time. I think we'll find before the end of the season that there will be, a couple of 4 million defenders on Earth that might be pretty decent. I have absolutely no idea at the moment who would play in there. What's gone there? Sealed. Maybe there's a couple you guys know of already that look pretty decent. Maybe for some of the promoted teams that are pretty definite starters, but a couple will be uncovered. So you would end up, I think, with some sort of a playing bench, but it's pretty skimpy. Very skimpy indeed. But supposing, and I'm not advising we do, supposing we did go with that, your returns most weeks, when you and I know this just from my own analysis, sort of hitting that 70 points, which is, as you know, from what I spoke about around my own methodology, is what I try and achieve in the spreadsheet and get that and adjust it as I go along, trying to achieve that 70-point average on a weekly basis across multiple game weeks. We know the points generally, the bulk of the points generally come from 4 or 5 players. Ideally a captain with a decent captain's haul, and then 3 or 4 others, with a reasonable 7 to 10s, and hope maybe 1 or 2 double-digit hauls, and then the rest, it's just sort of scrambling around 1 point here, 2 points there. Now with this team, you will have the best captaincy option each and every game week, without question. You've got pretty much all the key players there. I'm talking myself into this. Would this be actually a better punt than what I was talking about doing the no Salah Haaland and use this as my 3-4 game week punt? And then I've actually got everyone I want, and then I can just flick off the ones that are not performing. Don't really think I'm seriously going to do it. But hey, all of this is food for thought. It sort of helped me to sort of just focus in on where there might be some good budget enablers for when I do my Salah draft tomorrow, or for where I'm actually might want to, take some money out of probably the defence in my no Salah Haaland draft and bolster that midfield and attack even further. So nothing is wasted in this game when we're sort of discovering new things and analysing players and getting understanding what they did last year, what they might be able to do this year, and how some of those budget enablers, as I say, yeah, you might be losing some points here by taking this guy out, but if that's going to help you get to one or two other players with a sort of slightly more upside, then it's a game of averages. It's a game of what's the best combinations. I think that's the best way of putting it. Finding the best combinations. And I don't hate this, in all honesty. I don't think there's an earthly that'll do it. It's in the 5% region. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Is anyone going to be crazy enough to do this? Uh, in the meantime, folks, the mini league is up and running. People are joining now. Love to have you on board. The FPL Don't Panic Challenge, where we present the Bishop Brennan Cup on a weekly basis, and I have a prize for the winner at the end of the season. Haven't decided what that is yet. And also, before the game week's going live, I will probably lock it down so it's actually fair. We're all starting on game week 1. I will probably lock it down. I will also do a prize for the best team name. The league code is in the up in the top left corner there, I think. Enter, join in, have some fun, and we'll hopefully all have very, very successful seasons. In the meantime, I will be back in the next day or two with my Salah draft, which is going to be a very, very serious draft. It is probably the 60% the one I am likely to go with, but I did quite like the look of the no Haaland Salah draft and that punt for that first 3 or 4 game weeks, knowing that I could probably dig myself out of a hole if it wasn't going so well. So in the meantime, I'll probably see you in the next day or so. Have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.